Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're going to go back through the GTA 6 mapping project and talk about two things that I only really glanced over in one of my previous videos. A lot of people commented on my previous videos asking me to go more in depth on this, but rather than doing one video for every single individual thing that we can see in the map, it makes a lot more sense for me to compile them together. So in this video I'm going to talk about NASA and Disney World, and if/how they would be represented in Grand Theft Auto 6. But before we get into today's video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel if you enjoy this video at any point. Any likes, comments and subscriptions are massively appreciated. Now both NASA and Disney World are very key locations when it comes to Florida. In fact, Disney World is one of the main reasons people go to Florida. The one time I've been to Florida was to go to Disney World and to watch a spacecraft launch. At the time I was about 10 years old, so I don't really remember too much, but from what I do remember, it was incredible. So on the VI map, which is the GTA 6 mapping project, one of the maps, which is the one that was last updated last year, has Sarah, otherwise known as NASA, on the map. And I think this is something that probably will be represented within the game. In real life, the Kennedy Space Center is a really important part of Florida, especially an important part of Florida's history. Now how Rockstar Games will integrate this into the map, it's really hard to say. I'm hoping that we don't have a mission where our character goes to space, because that's something that the Fast and Furious have done with their recent movies, and it takes away from the whole realism. What makes Grand Theft Auto engaging for me as a player anyway is the complex stories behind complicated people. That's something that we can see, for example, with Niko Bellic, to anyone walking past him in the street who would be just a normal guy, but as we can see in Grand Theft Auto 4, there's a whole load of turmoil in his life, and how they embody that with the story of the game is really important. Same goes with GTA 5. Now GTA 5 went a little bit out there, you know, with massive bank heists and stuff like that, but it is Grand Theft Auto, so we'll give it some leeway. I'm hoping that NASA isn't an important part of the game. Maybe that does give us some options for some DLC or some online DLC where activities happen within the space center. Maybe they play on the whole going to space aliens thing, who knows. But by the looks of it, this strip that we can see here in real life is reminiscent of the actual landing strip that there is at the Kennedy Space Center. Now I do think there are cool ways that Rockstar could implement this into the game by making this a restricted airspace, so you can't fly planes in and out of it and you get a wanted level for doing so. Or maybe in a certain mission you might have to break into it to steal an aircraft or something really interesting like that. I'm hoping that that's the only way that this will be integrated into the game. Now before we start talking about Disney World, there's a lot of theories online about the Project Americas thing. So basically in early development, Grand Theft Auto 6 was called Project Americas. Every previous Grand Theft Auto game had different names while it was in development. So for example, GTA 5, the development name for that was Rush. And the reason why GTA 6 was called Project Americas beforehand was because the original plan for the game was to consist of multiple islands and different locations. For example, you've got Cuba, you'd have Panama, you'd have different areas that surround Miami, but also like South America. Now at some point during the development cycle, this changed, and it's theorized that this probably changed around about 2018. Rockstar were under a lot of pressure with people leaving the business, people complaining about excessive work hours, unions getting involved. It was a bit of a nightmare for Rockstar Games. Obviously Rockstar Games had to do something to address this, and at the time Red Dead Redemption 2 had just been launched. I feel like that maybe cutting back the whole Project Americas things and having some different areas that surround America pulled from GTA 6 may have something to do with that. But I don't think that we're not going to see any other parts of the Americas. I really do think that, for example, in the same way in GTA 5 we had North Yankton, I think we will have something similar in GTA 6. For example, there are a lot of islands off the coast of America. You've got the Bahamas, you've also got the Bermuda Triangle, which is a whole different thing within itself. I feel like there may be the odd mission here or there that takes place externally from Leonida, Florida, Miami. Now how Rockstar implement this within the game, we don't know, and of course everything here is just speculation. I've seen a few comments in some of my videos saying, how can I say things with such confidence? But if you watch any of my videos, I am clearly stating throughout them at many different points, these are just theories based on what we've seen so far and the information we have available to us. Everything is a theory until proven otherwise. I'm taking my approach to all of these videos in a kind of scientific manner. You have a theory, you test the theory, and then you wait for the theory to be proved right or wrong. And I know in a lot of my videos I will be wrong about things, but I'm also not claiming that things are 100% going to be right. So please take everything with a pinch of salt, but understand that I'm doing my best to give you the most educated look at some of these theories in the best way possible. I think it's very likely that we will have some reference to the South Americas. For example, in Miami we have Little Haiti, and obviously in the trailer the Haitian flag is seen quite a lot. It is a big part of Miami culture. So whether that means that we'll have some parts of the game that are more influenced with different areas off the main map, maybe, but we don't know. But the next thing I want to talk about is Disney World, or as it's known in the Grand Theft Auto universe, Fairyland. Now this is something which I've seen a couple of theories on. In my last video about this, I had some comments that suggested that maybe this is closed down and abandoned, for two reasons. Obviously Rockstar Games don't want to be putting children in a Grand Theft Auto game, so this place here, I mean, having it fully populated with just adults and no children would be a bit weird in the context of what it is, but there are some theories that this may be presented as a closed down wasteland sort of thing, like a derelict amusement park, very similar to the Nara Dreamland that there is in Japan, which is like a closed down Disney sort of esque park. I think having a closed down theme park would be just as equally as cool as having a fully open theme park. It'd be very interesting to see though how this integrates with the map. We also have some different versions of Fairyland, so on the GTA 6 mapping project, and this is all linked down in the description, there are different versions that have been done over time, and this one isn't a recent one, this one's from about a year and a half ago, but this shows a slightly larger depiction of what would be Disney World. This is probably a little bit less accurate in the sense of that I can't seem to see Epcot here. Now the latest update we've had from the mapping project is this map by this person here. I don't know how to pronounce that, Dupzor. But this here is quite interesting. Now obviously there's some locations here, the maps here, and what I find most interesting about this is that they haven't included the top half of the map. Now the reason why is because we don't have enough information to speculate what could be at the top half of the map. Obviously we have theories like the Kennedy Space Center, Disney World, but in Red Dead Redemption 2 there was no borders to the map, there was just zones that you couldn't really go into, and that is something that I find very interesting for Grand Theft Auto 6. With Rockstar seeing how successful GTA Online was, maybe they are going to do something very similar where we have a border that we just can't access, and over time map expansions could be added in to allow us to cross these borders. That will be very reminiscent of the early GTA games. For example, in the first Grand Theft Auto and the second Grand Theft Auto, you weren't able to cross bridges due to weather conditions at the time. Whether this is something that they do within the game would be very interesting to see, how they would implement this. Obviously they can't just say the bridge is closed and you can't cross, because there's boats, there's planes and stuff, and it's way more advanced than those early Grand Theft Auto games. But how they use weather or different parameters of the game to create limiting factors that mean that we can't travel across these borders, that would be really interesting to see if that's something they implement. If we get this sort of map where we can't access the top half, I'd actually be really happy about that. The fact that all of the GTA games were based on an island, and obviously the latest Red Dead Redemption 2 wasn't, means that we may have scope for these maps to expand. You know, when they launch the game, if we have this here, and then in a year or two's time, we get a map expansion that allows us to grow the map. Delivering the game like this would mean that Rockstar are thinking about doing that. There's no way that they wouldn't. They wouldn't limit us for this space for the next 10 to 15 years because they know the value they're going to get out of this game. This game is going to last longer than GTA 5, and they've got to make sure of that. So the best way for them to make sure of that is by giving us map expansions. There were some in the works for GTA 5, but with online taking off as fast as it did, they didn't do it. But in the online updates we do have for GTA 5, they have added more locations. And there's a lot of theories that the more recent locations they've added into GTA Online may be them experimenting with the idea of adding map DLC for games like this. So I'd be really keen to hear what your thoughts are down below. Make sure to drop a comment and let me know what you'd like to see in the game, or if there's any areas on the map that you would like me to do a bit more research into in terms of their real life counterparts. Thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one.